Hey everybody, we're two
What's up,
metalheads.
everybody?
I'm Mario.
Two metalheads. He's Mario, and I just talked over him for the second time at the beginning of this show. And I'm James.
Yes. So you had messaged me before saying you had an idea.
Yeah, I had an idea because going back and watching a couple of the episodes that we've done and just kind of skimming through them, I don't watch every episode in full that we do.
No, we walked,
Um,
we lived through it.
yeah, but
Yeah.
sometimes I like to skim through it and try to find a funny part or whatever. But I noticed when we did the sitcoms and when we've done like movie things, TV related stuff, I'm always like, man, this chick was in that and she was so fucking hot. And I know that sounds sexist of me and all that stuff, but whatever. I'm not, whatever. We're just from that fucking era where it was like a good looking woman was on TV and we're like, holy shit. So I was thinking that we could talk about celebrity crushes and go back from like when we first started liking girls, and we could go to today if you want. I don't fucking care. I'll sit here and talk about fucking women all night long,
And then go rub one out.
and then I will go blam.
Well, so as far back as I can remember, it would, hmm, probably I'm trying to think if there's anything before it. Like in Clarissa Explains It All. That would have been young. It's
Yeah,
probably one of the first.
Melissa Joan Hart.
Yeah, where it was like you noticed girls. You know,
Yeah, yeah, she was great.
I'm trying to.
I was definitely a fan of her.
I can't think of anybody before really. It would have been really young before that.
Right. So
Maybe Charles
I
in Charge.
guess, what's that?
Maybe Charles in Charge. The girls.
Charles. Oh yeah, Nicole Eggert.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Or
Yeah.
was it Alyssa Milano on
Who's a boss?
Boss maybe? But I don't remember exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I guess I got into girls. Maybe I got into girls before a lot of dudes did. But I remember being like 6 or 7 and seeing the Bangles on MTV. And it was the Eternal Flame video. And all four of them looked good in that one, but especially Susanna Hoffs. That was like, I was like, oh my, that was the exact moment in my life where because it was always like, oh, girls are gross, girls have cooties, girls are fucking, they suck, all that. And then that was the moment where I remember looking at her and being like, wait a minute, maybe maybe girls are cool. Maybe this whole cooties thing is bullshit.
What
So
about
that's
Roadhouse?
the first. What's that?
What about Roadhouse?
Roadhouse.
The bad guy, his girl was the hell was his name? You remember Roadhouse, the movie?
I haven't seen that in so long. I just remember Patrick Swayze kicking things a lot.
Yeah, Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott, yeah, being Sam Elliott looked like he was 90 then,
Yeah, he did.
and he's still in movies looking 90.
Like if you do the math, he was probably in his 30s then, and had gray hair.
Right? Yeah, and he looked like an old fucking country singer.
He had like gray, it was like gray and black kind of. Yeah,
Yeah. It
yeah,
was salt with very little pepper in it.
yeah. But
Yeah, that's a
not the girl
first
with
one I
Patrick
can
Swayze.
remember. Was that?
The girl that was with Patrick Swayze, not her, because she was like a stick. The
Okay.
the bad guys, I guess, girl was
Yeah.
like she was like the typical 80s girl.
Okay.
So
I'm gonna have to go look that up when we're done with this,
yeah.
and then blam to it.
I mean, I don't know if it was like a crush thing because she was blonde and it's not really my thing, but
Right.
uh I remember going, you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No doubt.
And that was
Nicole Eggert was definitely one for me too.
well, she was like when I was watching that movie, yeah, it was 1987 or 89, somewhere around there. She was an adult, so it was
Yeah.
Nicole Edgar during Charles in Charge was still kind of a kid.
Yeah. She was a little closer to our age.
Yeah. So
And then, of course, yeah, I mean, I would say all the girls in Saved by the Bell,
yeah,
like literally all of them.
yeah, definitely.
Um,
I just saw season 4.
oh yeah,
I just saw an episode the other day with oh, that girl from King of Queens. Uh
Leah Remini.
yeah, they worked at like a country club during the summer for season 4, and she was in that season.
Oh shit,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go back and check that out. That's a later crush. Is her? She's
Oh
great.
yeah. Okay. But for during King of Queens?
Yeah, during King of Queens era, she's great. Um, what else were we watching back then? Madonna. Always liked Madonna a lot.
Yeah, not my thing.
I had her on my wall. I had Suzanne Summers on my wall because of my brother. He had her and fucking what's her name from Charlie's Angels,
Jane Fonda?
Farrah Fawcett.
Farrah Fawcett. I'm thinking I'm completely wrong.
Same era,
Yeah, I guess, yeah. 70s,
same
right?
era.
Yeah.
But yeah, Suzanne Summers and Farrah Fawcett were on my wall when I was a kid because of my brother. So they were a first. Well, like when I started, getting into girls, they were ones that I was like, oh yeah, those chicks are great too.
But by the time I was hanging anything on my walls, it was like Carmen Electra.
Oh yeah, same.
Yeah.
Yeah, once I started like so my walls you didn't there was one point where I put so many pictures up you didn't see walls. So there was one wall in my room where it was just all girls and then the other three walls were bands.
Ah,
So yeah, by the time I got there it was like Cindy Crawford, Carmen
oh,
Electra,
like the swimsuit edition things.
yeah, Kathy Ireland,
Yeah.
Elle McPherson, Rachel Hunter, Angie Everhart, all those
Oh,
chicks,
you remember their
Jenny
names.
McCarthy. What's that?
I couldn't even remember their names.
Oh, dude, I was obsessed. Anna Nicole Smith,
Okay, yeah.
Pamela Anderson, Jenny McCarthy. That was a big three for me for a long time.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely, with Carmen Electra in there too. Stephanie Seymour. I liked her a lot. She was Axel's wife for a minute.
I don't know who that is.
She was in the November Rain video when Axel gets married.
Uh, I'd have to,
No,
I don't remember. Yeah.
she was a Victoria's Secret model.
Okay. Are you talking like high school now?
Yeah, almost. But like, yeah, no, I was in like middle school at that point, so you were probably a year or two behind me.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Cindy Crawford was a big one. Paul
Yeah.
Abdul.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Paul Abdul.
From that
That was a big one for
stupid,
me.
stupid cat video.
Yeah, but she looked good in that cat video. She looked really good, and she had a song called "Promise of a New Day." And I think Keanu Reeves was in the video with her for that song,
Huh.
if I remember correctly. And I remember, like, in Living Color, making fun of her during that. and I think they did it like a parody video called like "Promise of a Thin Me" because they were trying to say that she had gotten fat, and she totally wasn't at all. There were lots of glorious cleavage shots in that video.
Okay.
Lots. Yeah, very good. Very good. And Madonna always stayed consistent. Like she was always on my wall. Whatever new album, new pictures from magazines or whatever, she would always show up on my wall too.
There was two videos I remember. The White Snake video, Here I Go Again, with that girl
Yes,
dancing
Tawny
on the car.
Patane.
Yeah, dancing on the cars. And then I think Moni Moni from Billy Idol.
Okay. Who was the girl in that? Was she famous?
I don't know. Probably, but I don't remember now. This is a
Hmm.
problem. I don't remember a lot of the names. I never
Right.
cared, I never cared about the names. And unless they were doing something else,
Yeah,
I,
like a show you were watching on the regular.
yeah, if it was a show, I probably would have known their name. Yeah, or a movie.
Yeah, Katie Seagal. That was a big one for me.
Yeah, Married with Children.
That's when I realized that I liked older women. Because I was into her. I used to fight with dudes in the fucking when we had recess at school. I would fight with dudes. They'd be like, no, it's Kelly. And I'm like, nah, dude, for me, it's Peg. It's totally Peg. And I think Christina Aguilera, Christina Applegate was fucking great too.
Yeah,
But for me, it was Katie Seagal. Absolutely.
yeah, but I feel like later on she was better. The first season or two, it was a little, I don't know, maybe it was the hair. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, and I think it was a wig too. That wasn't her actual hair.
Well, later on it was bigger and I don't know.
Right.
I like the hair better that way.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I had a fifth grade teacher right around that time, Miss Verini. Oh man, was I into her. That was a big crush. And she had big red hair and she had like freckles and like big long nails and wore like dark red lipstick. And she had kind of like the Long Island, almost like a Fran Drescher
Ugh.
sort of way she talked. And dude, sometimes she would wear a top that was just a little, just enough. And oh boy, would I go home and fucking destroy a box of Kleenex. That was another one where it was like that made me like older women a lot.
Huh. I don't know. I remember getting into high school and a little after, I guess it was like Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yeah, that's a great one.
That was a big one. You know what I noticed though too, as time went on and I started dating girls, I have less like celebrities and other women that I was thinking about. Probably
Fair
because it's
enough.
like those are never going to happen, and the ones that I know
Yeah.
could happen, So
Okay.
stop
Fair enough.
I stopped kind of thinking of it, you know. I guess once you
Yeah, so
start,
you're more into like the realism of it than the fantasy of it.
well, I mean, I guess once you start actually getting girls,
Which I didn't for a long time.
you start focusing more on that than who you have crushes on that are unrealistic, you know.
True.
You know.
True. Yeah, as time went on, like I'm trying to think end of the 90s, like Nikki Cox.
Oh yeah, yeah. She didn't
And
do
then
a
there
whole
was
lot
some
though,
girls
right?
in what's that?
She wasn't in a whole lot though.
I think she was just in like Greg the Bunny or whatever fucking show that was.
I liked that show, but it didn't last long.
No, it didn't. Even though
Uh,
it was Bobcat Goldthwait doing the voice, which was cool.
yeah, it was. I thought it was funny. It was like a
I thought so too.
Married with Children with a puppet.
It pretty much was, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, it pretty much was.
I gotta watch that again. If I have
Yeah,
time.
it was a funny show.
Yeah.
Some of the girls from wrestling I really liked because I got back into wrestling at the end of the 90s when it was like they called it the Attitude Era. And it's when you had Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock and fucking Degeneration X. And it was really like that era of wrestling was pointed towards dudes our age.
Nah.
Because it was like those guys were talking about smoking weed and fucking Stone Cold used to come down to the ring drinking beers and he'd fucking point for the guy in the crowd to throw beers at him and he'd fucking pound a couple beers and beat the shit out of Vince McMahon. And it was great because it was like, yeah, I guarantee you've had bosses that you wanted to beat the fuck out of. So like it gave you that thing where it's like the boss is getting his ass kicked by the cool guy every fucking Monday night. And there were girls from that period that were fucking great, man. Like Lita
I
and fucking I liked China.
was it something Nights in China? What was it for?
Had the two nights in China or something like that. Yeah. I've seen it.
I haven't.
I've seen it. I blam to it maybe a few times.
Well, like later on in the late 90s, like late high school, I was heavily into like bodybuilding. So I had
Right.
like I still have a giant stack of bodybuilding magazines, and they all had like the women. I guess at the time you were calling them bodybuilders, but
Right.
like compared, but you like if you look at them from today's standards, they'd be like the fitness models because they were not over like there was a class that were overly muscular, but most of them were just fit, and
Yeah.
they would be it'd be I guess classified. They probably were bikini competitors, not they
Right.
weren't like big like you know.
Like Nicole Bass.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, they. Yeah, no, they weren't Nicole Bass.
Would you?
Nicole Bass?
Would you?
No. I mean, especially now, she's dead. A
That's right. She fucking died.
while ago, yeah.
I totally forgot about that. Holy shit. Wow. What did she die from? Do you remember?
I don't remember, but
She probably was doing steroids, right?
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, especially as a woman getting that big, it's not possible without steroids. It's not possible.
Right.
Anybody that's won a Mr. Olympia after I don't know, the 60s and maybe even before that, they were on steroids. There's no way they're not.
Yeah.
It's not. A lot of them wouldn't admit it back then.
Right.
Nowadays, the older guys that are still alive have been, even Arnold has talked about what they did. But you got to remember at that time, when like Arnold and all them, it was legal.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
So, and a lot of them didn't do it like nowadays. Guys go massive amounts all year round, and then maybe they cruise for a little while on a lower dosage, and then peak it
Right.
back up. But what Arnold said, and a lot of the guys said the same things, so it might be true, is that the last like 16 weeks before a competition, they would
Yeah.
they would take them so that they can diet down and still get bigger. Because typically when you diet down, you're going to shrink a little bit. But they would
Right.
take it. It'd be a lot easier to diet. You still had to diet, but it'd be a lot easier to diet, and you could still kind of put on some muscle, and you would get veiny and you know. So they said they did it that way, and occasionally throughout the year, maybe they do a 6 week cycle here and there, but it
Yeah.
was not crazy like it is now. And you didn't have any, if you look at it from the 70s to the 90s, all of a sudden you had these mass, like almost 300-pound dudes on stage, ripped.
Right.
And it's like, well, you know, they have to, it's there. That's why there's natural competitions now.
Yeah.
And even a lot of those guys, when they win, they get tested and it ends up not being natural.
Of
So,
course.
yeah, so it's,
Yeah. Like The Rock's got to be fucking on roids, right? He's
absolutely.
got to be.
And
He's a
some of the
fucking
guys
monster.
now, some of them, like, I wouldn't be surprised if most of the time The Rock is on TRT. and just
Okay.
keeping his levels at like what a 21-year-old would be at. And then
Yeah.
maybe for a movie role where he wants to get big, he probably does a little something. Like a Chris Hemsworth. If you look at his early work before Thor, he was a stick. And then if you look at the
Yeah, he
last Thor,
was.
he's fucking giant in the last Thor.
Yeah.
There's a limit to how big you could get without anything, and it's not a big it's not very like it's impressive to how ripped you can get without steroids, but how big you can get without them, it's not as impressive as most people would think.
Yeah.
If you I know like certain guys, like I know I'm going off topic here, but I know certain
That's
guys
fine.
like Ronnie Coleman, who is the guy that won the most Mr. Olympias in a row. I think it was 8. He
Wow.
more than Arnold. And
Shit.
he didn't take steroids until like years into bodybuilding. When if you look back at how big he actually was, like over 20-inch arms without steroids. And it's like, well, no wonder once he started taking them, he was winning. He was
Yeah.
already a fucking monster,
Yeah, he was already massive.
And those are the guys that typically they have great genetics. Taking the steroids are going to make them even better. You
Right.
know? But if you have shitty genetics, steroids aren't going to make you a Mr. Olympia. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You'll look better than you could without them. But they're not some magic thing where like if you were to take, if the typical guy was to take TRT because he had low testosterone, he would naturally, without working out, put a little bit of muscle on because now your testosterone is working the way it should, and
Yeah.
lose a little bit of fat. That's about it. It's not going to be crazy, you know. But these guys were going way past, like, TRT is, for anybody that doesn't know, is testosterone replacement therapy. You're basically giving yourself what is naturally possible.
Yeah, true.
You know, to some extent, it's debatable how high some of these people go that would be naturally possible. Some guys say they're at like 12 to 1500. Is it naturally possible when you're in your 20s? Maybe. It's extremely unlikely, you know.
Yeah.
But 700 to 900, and it will make a big, if somebody my age, your age, it would make a huge difference.
Okay.
So, you know, there's a debate there, but I don't think anybody's going to give a shit about it.
Yeah.
At least not on this podcast. To me, it's interesting, but I don't know.
I have been thinking about trying it.
But you'd have to go get your blood work to see if you're low in the first place.
Don't they have like over the counter shit you could take?
Oh, those are like they're not like you
Is
mean
it
like
bullshit?
it's like a testosterone like it's supposed to help free up testosterone. It doesn't really increase it. I don't think it. Oh wow, we're already like about to end in 10 minutes. Uh,
Really?
yeah, it doesn't. It's not the same.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but like for testosterone, like if you take it, you want to know that you're low enough that you should, because once you start taking it, like you could go off of it eventually, and they could put you on some stuff to bring your not to turn your natural. You stop making it. Once you're taking the testosterone, your body stops making it.
Oh.
So you could go off of it, and then there's been a bunch of studies that show that people that abuse steroids for ridiculous amounts of time and went off of it and did nothing, uh, eventually were able to get it back.
Huh.
And
Okay.
they do have medications that they can give you to help your body start to reproduce or to produce testosterone again. But
Yeah.
it would be back to where you were, or maybe even a little lower, you know. But the
So it's
typical,
almost kind of like a heroin addict using heroin, and that dopamine gland just fucking withers kind of away, and it's not giving you natural dopamine anymore.
Yeah, except the dopamine gland is your balls.
Right.
They do shrink. They do shrink.
Two big dopamine glands.
They'll shrink up. But the whole like your whole everybody else says, oh, your whole junk gets smaller. That's not true. Your balls do.
Yeah,
So in some cases, but not the rest.
right.
Because it's
Huh.
what your balls don't need to do what they were doing before. But but anyway, we can go into later in life, I guess. What you
Yeah, speaking of balls and being empty, fucking any porn star crushes for you?
no, I was never really a porn
No?
guy. Yeah. Like
No, there's plenty for me.
the most porn I watched was because I was dating somebody that was really into it.
Ah,
She
okay.
would she would put it she would come over and she had an Xbox that was just full of porn.
It was a sex box.
Pretty much.
Fuck yeah, cocksucker.
So she would
Fuck
just
yeah.
put stuff on and be like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, there you go. I could blame to this. Yeah, I've still to this day got plenty of those in the fucking canon. Jill Kelly was the first one that I ever saw that I really liked. And then, of course, Jenna Jameson, everybody was into her. Brianna Banks, Alexa Ray, Rachel Rocks is a more modern one. Big
I
fan of her.
don't know that.
Big fan of her. Sydney Steele. I know I know there's some dudes going, yeah, bro, yeah. Um, Nina Hartley. Oh, that's old school. That's very old school. That's like 80s. Um, yeah, sometimes I'll go and watch an old one once in a while with the fucking big giant bush. That shit's pretty cool.
I think
It's
like
pretty cool.
my latest one would have been like Sofia Vergara, but that not porn, you know?
Big fan of her.
Yeah.
Big fan.
I mean, that's kind of a little more my style, like the Hispanic girls. I kind of,
Right, Latinas.
yeah, I like that.
There's some Latina porn stars you would be into.
Maybe. I don't know.
Probably Nina Mercedes. I bet you would like her.
I don't know that one.
Dude, there's one that is like Sofia Vergara's like ooh, spit fucking body double. Complete like doppelganger. Her name's Esperanza Gomez.
Esperanza? Oof.
Remember that name?
That's a Dick Wilter of a name, though.
It is a real cock softener. But
At least you think of like an 80-year-old.
I
Oh,
know,
Esperanza.
I
Oh.
know, yeah. It does sound like a fucking abuela's name, but yeah, give her a look, and you'll definitely appreciate her.
Okay.
You'll definitely appreciate her. I like as far as modern day is concerned, Sydney Sweeney with her fucking big giant boobs.
I
She's
don't,
great.
I don't know her either.
If you've seen her, you would know her.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Is she like
blonde chick.
you're talking about porn though?
No, like a
Oh,
right. She's like a celebrity fucking
okay.
chick.
Maybe that
Yeah,
one. Huh, man.
yeah,
I guess let us know some of yours down there below us.
yeah. All you perverts that fucking watch porn like me. I know you guys were going like, yeah,
There's got to be a lot of you.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Comment some of your favorites. Maybe I'll find one I never heard of before. Help a boy out.
that's what you're looking for. That was the whole point of this. James can find new porn.
Pretty much. Pretty much. Gotta find something new to blam to.
You always want something new.
Of course.
Well, is there anything else?
That's I think we covered all the fucking bases.
Yeah, and faces. All right. Till next time. Two
Good
metalheads.
night, you jerks.
You jerks.